In the midst of Women's History Month, we're seeing the first woman driver in the NASCAR Cup Series since 2018. This past Sunday, you were probably watching, Katherine Legge made her NASCAR Cup Series debut at the Shriners Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway in Arizona, making the 44-year-old English driver the first woman to compete at NASCAR's top level since Danica Patrick nearly a decade ago. Katherine Legge joins me now. Katherine, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for taking the time on this early Friday morning.
Lovely to meet you too. Hi.
You are just the 17th woman to race in the Cup Series, one of only 2 women in history to drive in NASCAR, the Indy 500. I mean, you're trailblazing a path for women and girls to get into racing. How does that feel?
You know, when you set out down a path, or down a career path, you never really think, okay, I'm going to do it for all of the women, or I'm going to be a role model or a trailblazer or anything like that. You literally are just following your dream. And along the way, somewhere, you realize that there is a certain element of that, and with that comes responsibility. So you have to do it in the best way that you know possible. But really, I'm just trying to be the best race car driver that I can be. And yeah, it's not for anybody else. But having said that, the amount of women and young girls that come up to me and are like, we see you doing it, and therefore we think we can do it, and that's special.
It's very special, and that responsibility you talk about, that's got to feel weighty, you know, at the same time an honor, but there's a weight to that. I know last weekend it wasn't an easy race for you. You spun in the first few laps before crashing out a couple hundred laps later, colliding with other cars. You called this experience a baptism of fire. What are you taking away from your first race at this level?
Yeah, you know, it wasn't my best work, unfortunately. I made a mistake there at the end. There's so many things that I can learn. You know, I've been racing professionally for 20 years, so I've driven everything from Indy cars, Indy 500, to sports cars, Daytona 24 hours. It was just my first race in NASCAR Cup Series in stock cars at this level. So without any practice and without having had any experience kind of making my way up through the ladder series over there, it was just one of those things where I think everybody who's gone into the Cup Series has made a mistake. Mine just happened to be in front of everybody when everybody was paying attention because it was Women's History Month. So
Yeah. But don't you think
lots to be
everybody
learned.
makes mistakes when they've been in an arena they've never been in before? I mean, would we be having this conversation? You know, I know Daniel Suarez came out. You know, he was behind the wheel of that other car, and he said this. Let's pop this up if we can. I hope girls make it in this sport. There's nothing wrong with her. What is wrong is NASCAR. You cannot allow somebody with no experience to run in the Cup Series, plain and simple. I mean, Katherine, do you think we would be having this conversation, or people would be making statements like that if you were a man?
I don't know. Yes, in a way I do, but I don't think it would have got the attention that it got. I think that it got the attention it got because I am female. But you know, the only way you learn is by making these mistakes. And these drivers, they have also made these mistakes. You know, they crash every weekend.
Right.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. I called Daniel. I didn't do it on purpose, but it doesn't make it any easier for his race, obviously. And I was being lapped at the time. So I I was apologetic for it, but at the end of the day, I feel so much better having got that first race under my belt and that experience, because I know that when I go out there next time, it'll be a totally different kettle of fish.
Yeah, well, that's part of the game, right? I mean, everybody knows and prepares for something like that to happen. Lastly, before I let you go, Katherine, what's your message and words of advice to other young girls or women out there who see your story? They themselves want to get into, you know, a field where they look and it is male dominated. Maybe it's not racing, maybe it's something else, and they're nervous to take that leap. What do you tell them?
I understand, right? Because it is hard, but times are changing. It's like I remember the first time I went to a gym where it was just all men, and I felt very intimidated. And now it's normal. There are more women running companies and countries, and it is becoming more mainstream. So I think just keep your head down, stick at it. Never ever give up and believe in yourself, even if you have to fake it until you make it.
Yeah, keep rocking on with your bad self. That's what I always say. That's what my mama told me. Anyway, Katherine Legge, so nice to meet you. Thank you for the time. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be watching from afar.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.